the news from the network service of the NTA. The Wednesday package goes the extra mile to look for the Nigerian story, the trials and triumphs on the road to development. We will also identify the sectors in need of a shot in the arm and those already taking a bold shot at bigger possibilities. Tonight, road to progress, federal government to ease traffic in the northwest with key infrastructure. Kajuru abduction. Kaduna state government promises decisive action to secure release of kidnapped worshippers. Also on security, Nigeria police boosts counter-terrorism formations. And our regional appraisal is in the northeast tonight, and our reporters will be reviewing key initiatives in 2025 and the outlook for 2026.
I am Yunus Suleiman on the streets of Damaturu, the Yobe state capital. Tonight on News Extra, we will be examining the gains and challenges of 2025, as well as hopes, prospects, and expectations of residents in northeast Nigeria for 2026. Stay with us.
We review the activities of governments and the security situations in 2025, expectations of people on key developmental projects that forms the economy of the nation. From Yola, join us on News Extra tonight. I am Bilkisu Abubakar.
I am Mohamed Goni on the street of Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. In the course of News Extra tonight, we will be looking at achievements recorded by authorities in the northeast sub-region, particularly here in Borno state, across key sectors of the economy.
Brilliant. And in business tonight, the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland is on the lips of many, with U.S. President Donald Trump shaking the table today. Benny Adams has the lowdown, while Badia Deleye, fresh with the bronze medal from AFCON, is the man on the spot for sports news. As we see on this shift, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Let's set sail together. I'm Henry John. This is News Extra. Welcome. We begin with infrastructure projects as a bold move to ease hardship experienced by motorists. The federal government has inaugurated 2 completed road projects under the Emergency Intervention Scheme in Zamfara State. Usman Zubair reports that Senior Special Assistant to the President in Community Engagement, Northwest, Abdullahi Tanko Yakasai, who inaugurated the roads, urged the contractor handling the dualization of Section 111 Gusau Talata Mafara Sokoto dual carriageway to ensure timely completion of the project.
Work on the dualization of Section 3 dual carriageway from Zaria, Funtua to Gusau have reached 52%, while Gusau Talata Mafara to Sokoto road, the contractor said is just 14% stage of completion. The project consists use of steel reinforcement, certain insecurity, and traffic management among the major constraints.
Over 23 road projects going on in Northwest alone. That's to tell you, Mr. President is so concerned about Northwest.
Doing the earthworks, joining the dualized road so that to open for the traffic, both the 2 lanes, left and right, so that commuters will be traveling on it.
The Senior Special Assistant to President on Community Engagement Northwest assured communities along the project corridor of the federal government's unwavering commitment to delivering durable, safe, and economically impactful road infrastructure across the region. The 2 road projects inaugurated are the 600 kilometers access road linking newly commissioned Federal Secretariat Complex and repaired Gusau Gedandao Road in Zamfara State. The roads are part of the 260 emergency intervention routes identified nationwide, expected to ease traffic flow and enhance connectivity. Usman Zberu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has justified the demolition of structures in the Makoko waterfront, describing the action as being in the collective interest of residents and the state. The governor made remarks while responding to public criticism and pushed back following the demolition exercise. Joy Ken Agbapoya reports.
Makoko, a community made up of shanties and largely occupied by fishing families, remains one of Lagos's most talked about waterfront settlements. The floating slum, as it is called, has for decades struggled with severe overcrowding, poor sanitation, and unregulated construction that have repeatedly drawn government attention over safety and urban planning concerns. It is against this backdrop that the state government embarked on the latest round of demolitions. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has defended the demolition, stating that the action is not motivated by malice, but by the necessity to enforce the law. He explains that the exercise forms part of a broader urban renewal and waterfront regeneration program aimed at improving safety standards and critical infrastructure across the state.
A lot of these people have built the shanties right under the high tension wire. And the regulation is there that you need to clear between 150 to 250 away from the regulation line. So what we're doing is that we're clearing people not to get to third mainland bridge and to stay off behind the high tension.
The governor also accused some local and international non-governmental organizations of promoting narratives that, according to him, serve vested interest in the Makoko community.
Of what interest will it be for government to want to unduly demolish anybody's? What interest? If it is not for the overall safety of these citizens that we're talking about. There are some local and international NGOs that want to profit from this.
Governor Sanwo-Olu, however, assured residents that those affected would not be abandoned, emphasizing that the state government would provide necessary support to cushion the effect of the exercise. In Lagos, Joy Ken Agbapoya, NTA News.
Let's look at security matters now, as sustained investments in modern platforms, training and partnerships are aimed at building a more capable, responsive and resilient Air Force. One that can effectively support joint operations, protect lives and property, and create the secure environment required for national development and economic growth. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Aneke, affirmed this while advancing the M346 fighter program to strengthen Nigeria's air power in Italy. Defense correspondent Lajide Bello has all the details.
Nigerian Air Force is recording significant progress in its fleet modernization drive as the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Aneke, engaged Leonardo Aircraft Division in Milan, Italy on the M346 fighter ground attack aircraft program. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ehime Ejodame, indicates that Air Marshal Aneke described the program as a critical leap in renewing the NAV's combat capability that will strengthen precision strike operations, improve training outcomes, and reinforce Nigeria's regional deterrence posture through carefully synchronized aircraft delivery and seamless induction into operational service. The visit to Leonardo Helicopter Division, alongside the permanent secretaries of the Ministries of Defense, Richard Filangwa, Finance, senior government officials, and senior NAF officers, underscores the priority President Bola Tinubu places on air power modernization and defense industrial cooperation as critical pillars of national security. At the Leonardo Aircraft Division, discussions focused on the M346 fighter ground attack aircraft program, which the Air Chief described as a major milestone in the ongoing renewal of the NAV's combat fleet. The Air Chief described timely delivery of aircraft-associated spares, ground support equipment, and structured training packages as essential to ensuring rapid operational readiness and sustained mission effectiveness. Andrea Miteto, Senior Vice President, Sales, Leonardo Helicopter Division, assured that the company remains fully dedicated to the timely delivery, sustainment and expansion of cooperation under the AW109 Tracker and M346 programs. Air Marshal Aneke reassured Nigerians that the Nigerian Air Force, in synergy with other services and security agencies, remains unwavering in fulfilling President Tinubu's mandate to decisively address security challenges nationwide. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
And still on security matters, families of the victims who were abducted during morning church service in Kurmin village are asking the security agencies to intensify efforts in rescuing their people. Mohammed Umar Ajinge reports that the governor of Kaduna State, who visited the village to sympathize with victims, says security agencies are working hard to ensure their requests and prayers come to reality soon.
Deep inside the forest, the convoy moves to Kurminwali village, a 30-minute drive from Kachia Road. On arrival, tears of sorrow dropping from the eyes of the people whose family members were abducted. Inside the church, the belongings of the victims lie scattered.
This is one of the church among the three where scores of people were abducted in this village. The people have so far remained calm, anxiously awaiting any good news of the return of their loved ones.
Johanna is among the victims who escaped from the hands of the bandit.
On Sunday by 10:30, we were inside the church. That kidnap come around the village. Where the person want to run, they go follow them, carry them.
The Kaduna State Governor is here to assure the community that the security agencies are working hard to rescue their loved ones.
We have been collaborating with the relevant security agencies, both the military, the DSS, the police, and the Office of National Security Advisor, to ensure the quick return and recovery of our people that were abducted in this very important community. Every citizen of Kaduna State, whether it is only one person, we believe it is the responsibility of Kaduna State government to protect the life and properties of the people of our state.
For Johanna, who escaped, his father and brothers remain in captivity. He continues to hope and pray in the same church for their safe return. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Nigeria's internal security architecture is receiving a major operational boost as the Nigeria Police Trust Fund intensifies capacity building for officers and men of the force on counter-terrorism rapid response at the Police Mobile Force Training College, Nasarawa State. Security correspondent Francis Fom was at the Training Institute and now reports.
This is just one phase.
51 officers and men drawn from different counter-terrorism units of the force have been trained on counter-terrorism operations. The exercise equips participants with tactical, legal, and operational skills required to confront terrorism, insurgency, and organized crime in today's complex security landscape. The Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Police Trust Fund describes the program as an operational necessity for 21st century policing.
Rapid response is not simply a function of the job. It is a lifeline for you, for your colleagues, and for the citizens that we protect. That is why training is important. It is designed to sharpen your skills, to broaden your thinking, and prepare you for the realities that you face on the field. We are committed to working side by side with the Nigerian police force, ensuring you have the tools and the support required to confront today's threats.
So what do we do if we do operations, we have successful arrests? What do we do with them? How do we gain conviction? Because that's the end result of our operation. If we captured many who are disturbing us and we cannot successfully prosecute them, then we've done nothing.
The commandant expressed optimism that the visit by the Nigeria Police Trust Fund will translate into strategic interventions that will expand capacity, modernize facilities, and strengthen Nigeria's frontline response against terrorism.
With the Nigeria Police Trust Fund driving investment in training, equipment, and welfare, the Nigeria Police Force is steadily building a stronger, faster, and more professional security architecture. The message from NDA Hills is clear. Nigeria is not just reacting to crime, it is preparing ahead of it. Francis from NTA News.
Many thanks, Francis, for the update. In the meantime, one of the suspects being prosecuted by the Department of State Services, DSS, alongside Khalid Al-Banawi and 3 others for being behind the August 26, 2011 bombing of the United Nations building in Abuja, has narrated how he joined the Boko Haram terror organization. This was part of his testimony at the ongoing trial. Austin Ayebe feeds us.
At the resumed trial of Al-Banawi and 4 others on Wednesday, the second defendant, Mohammed Bashir Saleh, in a video recording played before the court, said he joined Al-Banawi in Bauchi shortly before the attack on the UN building, and that from that moment, their relationship blossomed, resulting in his joining Boko Haram. Al-Banawi was arrested by the Department of State Services, DSS, in April 2016 in Lokoja, Kogi State, 5 years after the attack on the Abuja UN building, the first of such attack on an international agency's property in the country, which left more than 20 individuals dead and over 70 others injured. At Wednesday's proceedings, the court saw another video recording of the interview section involving Saleh and commenced the cross-examination of the third prosecution witness in the ongoing trial within trial being conducted to ascertain the voluntariness or otherwise of the confessional statements made by the defendants. Under cross-examination by lawyer to the first defendant, the witness, identified as TSR3, said he works in the technical department of the DSS and that part of his functions include setting up of audio-video recording machine in the interview room. Justice Nwite adjourned till March 2nd for the continuation of the cross-examination of the PW3 in trial within trial. From the Federal High Court, Abuja, Austin Ayebe, NTA News.
We remain in the courtroom as the Federal High Court in Abuja has restrained Julius Abure from further parading himself as the national chairman of Labour Party and recognizing the Senator Usman Nenadi-led caretaker committee as a legitimate leadership of the party. Justice Peter Lifu, who gave the order, anchored the decision of the court on the April 4, 2025 verdict of the Supreme Court, which nullified Abure's claim to the position. The court therefore ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission to immediately accord recognition to the Nenadi Usman-led caretaker committee as the only lawful authority to act for and represent the Labour Party, pending the conduct of a national convention. The judgment followed a suit instituted by Senator Nenadi Usman challenging Abure's continued stay in office. Justice Lifu held that materials placed before the court clearly showed that Abure's tenure as national chairman of the Labour Party had expired. The court dismissed Abure's argument that the dispute was an internal party affair. Now, some pensioners of the Central Bank of Nigeria are demanding the enforcement of an earlier Supreme Court judgment in 2013, directing the Apex Bank to pay what they consider long outstanding benefits accrued to them. This emolument, the pensioners say, was in line with the federal government's policy of harmonizing retirement benefits statutorily approved in 1999. Amaka Owo reports that both parties were present during the court proceeding at the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos.
The matter between pensioners of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Apex Bank was brought before Justice Alexander Oweye of the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos. Prosecuting counsels Sani Molajo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Adegoke Oshini told the court that the first lawsuit in 1999 went through the appeal and Supreme Courts. They argued for the enforcement of the Supreme Court judgment and for the Central Bank of Nigeria to comply with the demands and settlement of pensioners.
We're back here in the court which gave the first judgment because the CBN has not complied with that judgment. So we saw it fit and needful to pursue an enforcement. It is to compel them to comply with the judgment of the High Court, which was given in the year 2000.
I think Central Bank is arguing that they have given a settlement agreement, and that settlement agreement is very badly worded settlement agreement.
The Defense Counsel to the Central Bank of Nigeria, Bode Omoboriowo, says the matter was referred back to the Court of Trial after an appeal at the Court of Second Instance, stating that the Apex Bank lacks the jurisdiction to commence any action. He added that most of the names of the pensioners in the Supreme Court judgment are now deceased.
CBN this with record, and the position of the CBN is to the effect that those that went to court from High Court to Supreme Court have been paid and settled.
Justice Alexander Owoye then adjourned the case till February the 24th, 2026. In Lagos, Amaka Owo, NTA News.
Let's remain with the judiciary now as the third arm of government, which offers a platform for anyone having disputes over a litigating matter to obtain judicial remedy. But judiciary analysts observe that the duty of implementing judicial pronouncements lie within the ambit of court registrars. Hence, the Chief Justice of Nigeria is seeking visible improvement in their performance.
Eniola Akonbi is a judicial officer, the Chief Registrar of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. His schedule of duties include handling, supervising administrative court functions and overseeing the registry. Working under judges and justices, court registrars like him oversee court documentation. The efficiency of the work could significantly affect court operations.
Judicial excellence must be matched by administrative efficiency. Without professional, integrity-driven and technology-enabled court administration, the promise for justice cannot be fulfilled.
At a retreat for chief registrars of courts across the country, Chief Justice of Nigeria outlined readiness to modernize their operations with innovative ICT tools.
Each and every one of you in your various courts can think of innovative ways to make your job more effective and more efficient.
What was sufficient knowledge 5 years ago is inadequate today. I urge each of you to embrace continuous learning.
I recommend very seriously that a survey should be conducted to get very accurate feedback from the people we serve. What do they want us to do?
The court registrars are hopeful that by adapting use of automation necessary for efficient justice dispensation, modernization of the judicial arm will be on course.
Briefly, there's more news after this short break. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. The National Assembly has vowed not to compromise the laid-down procedures in discharging its constitutional responsibility of effective oversight of public institutions. The House Ad Hoc Committee on Power Sector Reforms said this at the resumed hearing investigating development in the sector. National Assembly correspondent Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
Ad Hoc Committee on Probe of Power Sector Reforms was constituted last year to investigate the effectiveness or otherwise of privatization of the power sector from 2007 to date. This is with a view to address challenges confronting the sector. At the investigative hearing, key players from the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, NEMSA, and the Chevron made presentation on the situation on ground.
The major constraint, like I highlighted before, is that of payment. We are owed billions of naira, but because we maintain an integrated system, our commitment to continue to deliver gas on behalf of the joint venture remains unshaken.
Members of the committee faulted some areas that need urgent attention, summoning the managing director of Seplat to appear before it on January 29, 2026.
My fear is that if there is no timeline for such efforts you are making to ensure local manufacturing of meters, it is possible the efforts you are putting in place could linger till the next 25 years.
I want you to understand that this committee is an investigative committee. So it has a mandate to look even into your books of accounts to determine your source of funding.
You have no business with the discourse.
No, we don't have anything with the discourse.
Excellent. So what I'm trying to say here, these Gencos, the country take it up as a responsibility to pay them off whatever they generate. The company has to come up with an intermediary that will indemnify the generating companies.
The committee is expected to embark on physical assessment of plants and project sites across the nation. From the National Assembly, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Away from Abuja, let's take a trip to Yola to join Bilkusu Abubakar, who says the old challenges linger, but new solutions are now on the table. Bilkusu, it's over to you.
Adamawa, blessed with over 50 indigenous languages, its peaceful coexistence, safety and security remained the major concern of people and focus of the government. The state was relatively peaceful in 2025, despite the challenges of security recorded, especially at the tail end of the year 2025, as regards to the communal clashes in Lamorde local government between Pachama and Chobo community, where government has taken a proactive measures to ensure the peaceful coexistence of the two communities, as peace accord was signed between the two communities in presence of the Nigerian security and the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Police Force, the representative of the Peace Commissions and the Adamawa State government. Aside from the security matters, the year 2025 was eventful and full of activities to the Adamawa State government, as developmental projects were recorded in the year 2025. For instance, 2 different flyovers were constructed by the Fintri-led administration and one underpass. Smart schools in all the 21 local government areas, general hospitals in all the 21 local government areas, alongside the 2 scanning machines for the health sector, and 2 CT scans machines for the free dialysis of kidney patients were provided in 2 hospitals, Yola General Hospitals and the Numan General Hospitals. These are some of the developmental projects recorded in 2025 in Adamawa State by Fintri-led administration. To talk on the people's expectations on the key developmental projects, especially the ongoing projects of the state, with me is Barrister Sunday Wigira, who is the public affairs analyst. Sir, what are the expectations of the people of Adamawa State, especially as regards to the developmental projects that are ongoing in Adamawa State?
Well, the expectation is huge. Over the years, people have not been disappointed. Yearnings of the people in terms of infrastructure, in terms of peaceful coexistence, in terms of educational development, matching words with action from government has been met. And like Oliver Twist, people are asking for more, and more is being expected. As much as has been given, so is also expected from the people. Yes, in 2025, we witnessed a communal clash between the Chobo and the Bachama people. We have seen how government reacted, how government addressed and tackled these challenges. The security challenge in Hong, the flank leading to Sambisa Forest, exploited by the insurgents. And we have seen the proactive measures of government to tackle and provide succor, and ginger people by way of reassurance, providing buffer security. We have seen the developments and progress people are witnessing in terms of provision of water. So the expectation is that there will be much more consolidation of these developments in this 2026, and before the exit of the government of Right Honorable Amadou Moro Fintri, people of Adamawa State will be able to say that yes, we have seen a difference.
Of course, any government that provides lasting developmental changes to its people will be leaving a legacy for posterity. Back to our studios in Abuja.
Many thanks, Bilki. So, of course, we hope that the people of Adamawa State will continue to enjoy the dividends of democracy with security topping the list, of course. Thank you once again for that. And, of course, our Northeast Files continues on the program. But for now, let's talk health. The National Primary Health Care Development Agency, NPHCDA, has been scored 77.88% in the 2025 ICPC Ethics and Integrity Compliance Scorecard, ranking 17th among 357 ministries, departments and agencies. At the Nigeria Reputation Summit in Abuja, Executive Director and CEO of the agency, Dr. Muyi Aino, said government officers must emulate high standards to boost Nigeria's reputation. Dr. Aino highlighted the Health Ministry's focus on governance reform, led by the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, aimed at improving integrity and transparency. He said initiatives are underway to tighten controls and raise ethical standards.
Out of 323 institutions that were assessed, I was very embarrassed. And I charged my team. I said, let's go on the journey. And the letter that I got, the assessment that the judge did, we ranked 17th, which is the mark of the improved transparency and all. And we are going to first.
The ICPC urged the agency to maintain its standards. Let's look elsewhere now. Of course, Kebbi State Government has announced that the 2026 Argungu International Fishing and Cultural Festival will take place on February 11. Musa Baba Aliyu has more details about the upcoming international event, which is recognized by UNESCO.
This was the last Argungu Fishing Festival in 2020, about 6 years ago. It was the 60th edition, and more than 50,000 fishermen took part. The biggest fish caught weighed 75 kilograms. Since then, the Matamfada River has been quiet with no fishing activities. This year, the river will see and host more visitors than it has in decades. The person who protects the culture and tradition of the festival is the Emir of Argungu, Ismaila Muhammad Meira.
We're inviting fishermen from the entire states of northern Nigeria, and specifically we are also inviting fishermen that were invited in 1970 from the southeast Nigeria to come and participate in the festival. And all states of the Federation have also been invited by His Excellency to bring their cultural troops to showcase what represents their state.
These are some cultural performances that will be shown in the upcoming festival. There is also a teaser of traditional shows from other cultural groups.
As we witness the performance and presentations today, let us see not just a festival, but a future of economic growth, cultural pride, and national unity.
It signifies peace, peace in the nation. And I think there is no time we needed that peace like now.
Festival like Argungu help position Nigeria on the global tourism map and promote positive narratives about our people and our cultural heritage.
Participants from inside and outside the country will compete in water sports, archery, horse and camel riding, and water racing event, among other activities including agricultural show. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
The countdown to the Argungu Fishing Festival officially begins. Now we head to Jigawa State, where the Governor Umar Namadi has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to transforming the agricultural sector as a key driver of economic growth and food security in the state. The governor stated this when granting audience to a delegation from the International Institute of Agriculture, IITA, who were in the state to further strengthen relationship on scaling up technology-driven agriculture. Mohammed Musa Askira was there.
The governor said his administration is ready to collaborate with agricultural experts and development partners to improve productivity, modernize farming practices, and reposition agriculture as the mainstay of the state's economy. Governor Namadi also expressed appreciation to local farmers across the state for their resilience and contributions toward boosting food production, assuring them of continued government support. Speaking earlier, the leader of the delegation said the visit was to formally present a comprehensive agricultural development document prepared by the Institute for possible implementation in the state.
Agriculture is the mainstay of our economy, and our smallholder farmers are very dear to us, and they need to be guided and need to be supported. So for the guidance, we need expert guidance, and I think the NITDA were at home.
We have developed what is really a clear, concise, and implementable plan that will support the transformation of agriculture in the states.
Partnership between the Jigawa state government and NITDA, International Institute of Agriculture, is expected to strengthen agricultural research, enhance food production, and create sustainable livelihoods for farmers across the state. In Duty, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
Well, Nigeria's livestock research sector has been challenged to move beyond academic output and focus on market-driven research, commercialization and sustainable development. This call was made in Kaduna by the Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Mokhtar Meha, during the inauguration of key projects at the National Animal Production Research Institute, SHIKA, carried out by the Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Project, LPRES. Yusuf Jika reports.
The National Animal Production Research Institute, NAPRI-SHIKA, has played a key role in improving animal production through research, training and extension services in a bid to further boost productivity and sustainability. Brought stakeholders together to unveil a series of life-changing interventions designed to translate research into practical solutions. These include a pasture drying shed, seed multiplication unit, storage and cooling systems, hay barn, watering points, seed shelling machines, and a pasture seed germinator, all targeting improvements across animal production and the dairy value chain.
You cannot improve livestock without improving the animal production. So what we are doing is institutional support to NAPRI so that we will have the livestock production, animal production working.
Speaking at the event, Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Mokhtar Meha, described the interventions delivered as a deliberate move to fast-track production.
The whole idea today is research for the market, research for development, research for food security, research for rural empowerment, research for rural development. This is what we are talking about.
This university remains fully conscious of its historical role in the development of the livestock sector in Nigeria.
The facilities and equipment provided by LPRES will adequately enhance animal research and production efforts of NAPRI and thereby significantly improve the development of the livestock industry. In Shika, Zaria, Kaduna State, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
Let's continue with our Northeast files as Borno State, known as the home of peace, has been in the relentless pursuit of peace for over a decade now. But there are efforts which indicate that the citizens are no longer swimming against the tide in finding calm. Mohammed Goni joins us tonight on the streets of Maiduguri, and he has a government official with him who is confident that better days are ahead. Mohammed Goni.
The year 2025 ended in somber note in Maiduguri, particularly following the bomb blast at Gamboru Market. But citizens across the northeast sub-region have continued to keep hope alive, considering the achievements recorded by authorities in the sub-region. Here in Borno State, Governor Wagana Umar Azulum administration has recorded key successes in areas such as education, security, resettlement, human capital development, among others. With me to discuss these is the special advisor to Borno State Governor on media and strategy, Malam Dauda Ilya. So take us through some of the achievements recorded in the year 2025 and what the citizens should expect from the government in the year 2026.
The year 2025 has witnessed gradual return of peace to almost all the 27 local government areas, leading to the resettlement of over 1 million people back to their local government authorities or their communities. And this was recorded as a result of the resilience building tour and confidence building by His Excellency Professor Abagana Umar Zulum to virtually all these communities. Of note was his week-long visit to parts of northern and central Borno State. And people have started also engaging in farming and other business activities. In the year 2025, more than 55 hectares of farmlands were cultivated across the state, and this has resulted in bumper harvest and yields in all the nooks and crannies of the state. With regards to issues of education, His Excellency has constructed 104 mega schools across the 27 local government areas and more than 22 high Islamic colleges in the state. Going forward, this year 2026, His Excellency has promised in his 2026 budget that he is going to invest more with regards to the issues of security. He promised to procure 20 mine resistance and armored personnel vehicles to the security agencies, particularly the Nigerian military and the Nigerian police force. Certainly, the year 2026, people of Borno State will witness more developmental projects and more impactful ones, especially in communities that have not witnessed some of these infrastructural developments.
With the continued collaboration between the citizens, the authorities, and the security personnel, it is expected that in the year 2026, the security challenges will be over and more positive development will come the way of the citizens of Borno and the Northeast in particular.
Indeed, well done to the governor of Borno State, and we hope that 2026 will be a year of peace for the home of peace. We're head to Yobe State now, which has had its own fair share of challenges, but there are some bold initiatives in key sectors that could make the state a true oasis of hope in a region thirsting for sustained stability. Let's now join Yunusa Suleiman in Damaturu. Yunusa, any cause for excitement from Yobe?
Thank you, Inyare. Indeed, the year 2025 has come and gone. It is a year full of events that will remain indelible in the minds of people of Yobe State. From the security, we have seen the state government intervening by providing 47 operational vehicles to security operatives and 50 motorcycles to vigilante and hunters to enhance surveillance and, of course, to nip in the bud infiltration of non-state actors. In 2025, the Yobe State government embarked on the construction of first ever flyover and underbridge. This is to ensure smooth flow of traffic and give Yobe State capital the infrastructure it deserves. These are some of the achievements recorded in Yobe State in the year 2025. Now we are in 2026, and to talk about the expectations and hopes of residents as far as 2026 is concerned, I'm being joined by one of the residents here, talking about Dr. Hamidu Babi. Doctor, thank you very much for joining us on News Extra this night.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be your audience this evening and to interact on the affairs of Yobe State government.
Okay. Well, as a resident, as a citizen of Yobe State, what's your assessment of the year 2025?
As you have introduced in the program, my assessment for the year 2025, in respect of the operations and performance of the Executive Governor of Yobe State, Dr. Honorable Maimala Buni, is not only commendable, but is very excellent. Why? Because, as you have introduced at the beginning of the program, we have seen how he injected money into agriculture. And it is very surprising to see how multi-billion naira equipment were purchased and given to farmers free of charge. But whenever in economic theory you inject money into agriculture, you are boosting the economy because the majority of the people in the state are engaged in agriculture. And when they are getting a means of livelihood, it means that there will be improvement in their income, there will be welfare by sending their children to schools, and equally to enable their wives and children to attend a very good healthcare facility. So the performance of Yobe 2025, economically, socially, and what have you, is commendable, excellent, and something that demands to be copied by all states.
Okay, talking about security challenges, it remains one of the major challenges being faced, not only Yobe State, but the entire sub-region. So what's your assessment of security last year? Thank you very much.
You know, this security issue has been facing Yobe for long, but for the past 2-3 years, we can say the peace has been restored. Why? Because something that has occurred and has disturbed people for over 10 years, a decade, it cannot go in a day. But there are some root causes of this Boko Haram: ignorance, poverty. And when government injects money into programs like agriculture, creation of jobs, basically it has improved the socio-economic well-being of the people. And as you have earlier said, government is collaborating with federal government by supplementing in procurement of operational vehicles, giving welfare to the security force in order to see that the state's level of security is improved. And as a background, you can remember when times people will go home by 4 p.m. This is to tell you that life is back fully in peace and sanity.
Okay, talking about 2026, what is your expectations for the 2026?
So my expectation for the year 2026, I expect a greater hope and dream to be achieved by the young and intelligent governor of Yobe State, Honorable Malabuni.
Well, that's the general perception here in Damaturu, the Yobe State capital. It's back to you, Inyare, for the continuation of News Extra.
Many thanks, Yunus. Indeed, oasis of hope in Yobe. We're watching. Thank you very much. Now, the National Assembly Service Commission has confirmed the appointment of Emmanuel Odo as clerk to the Senate. Mr. Odo was appointed acting clerk to the Senate on 16th September 2025. A statement by the Director, Public Affairs of the Commission, Emmanuel Ayigo, indicates that Ibrahim Sidi has also been appointed as acting clerk to the House of Representatives. Mr. Sidi was before now the Director, Administration. Let's pause briefly. When we return, business news is next. Stay with us. Glad to have you back. For communities whose lives depend on water, hope is rising as the National Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission, HYPODEC, tours and assesses strategic facilities to strengthen livelihoods in Gombe State. Nafisa Umar Garba reports.
The Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission, HYPODEC, during a familiarization visit, inspect major water facilities in Gombe State to strengthen interventions in hydropower host communities. At Lake Kupto in Funeka local government area, officials assessed the lake's importance to fishing, irrigation and livelihoods. The team also visited Nafada and the Dadinkowa Dam, where focus was on sustaining water resources, flood control, irrigation expansion, and environmental protection.
Most of our outing is to meet the communities and know their demand and know their needs in order to guide us in preparing for the budget of 2026.
Since 2023, HYPODEC has provided life jackets, modern boats, and educational support to riverine communities in Gombe State.
We are ready to support and partner with them because what they are here for is to improve the lives and the citizens of Gombe.
Nafisa Umar Garba.
All right, now time to talk business. Benny Adams is here.
Thank you, Harry. And talking
Business Now Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, tells the global community at Davos that Nigeria is moving from stabilization to growth through relying less on borrowing and more on domestic resources. This was at a conversation on jobs challenge in emerging markets at the ongoing 2026 World Economic Forum in Davos, while brainstorming on the staggering demographic reality where an estimated 1.2 billion young people will reach working age in the next decade amid current economic trajectories that only provide about 400 to 420 million jobs. The submissions from A.J. Banga, President of the World Bank Group, as well as Nigeria's Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, focused on bridging this 800 million job gap, which they believe can be achieved through private sector mobilization and domestic structural reforms.
But I am trying to make the case that in the developing world, we still have a chance by focusing on those three pillars of infrastructure, the right business-friendly policies, and the right catalytic capital, combined with those 5 sectors. We have a chance to allow the next 15 years to be good years for people in these countries.
So we are focused on, as we heard earlier, the technology dividend should allow us, for example, as Nigerians to do what has been done in Asia, and which is empower our young people with technology, with automation and with data, such that they can stay in Nigeria, provide services, provide support services, training, consultancy, etc., over the internet.
I'm looking at the markets at this time, talking about transactions from markets in Nigeria to South Africa, as well as Namibia. The bulls are running in Lagos as investors' wealth increased by 6.88 billion naira, proving that volume is the name of the game. Despite a slight dip in the number of deals, the big money jumped by 25% to hit nearly 25 billion naira, with 54 gainers as well as only 24 losers. Zich's Agro Allied was the most popular, recording the highest volume of 69.2 million shares traded just after listing on the exchange. And in Johannesburg, the story was not just about the tickers but the currency, as the JSE Top 40 index edged up cautious 0.3%. But all eyes were on South African rand, which firmed up at 16.31% against the dollar. That's the strongest level in years. While in Namibia, the Windhoek is having a moment, with the Namibian Stock Exchange hitting a 12-month high today, with the old share index climbing to 2,177 points. That is it, and business at this time.
All right, many thanks, Benny, for the update. Let's also inform you that the expanding digital media exposure and use of accompanying devices are growing concerns for many stakeholders, especially adults, over wrong influences on minors. In Nigeria, like other climes, the story is worrisome, as some Nigerians believe children's access to digital devices and exposure to some apps should be regulated. Utibe Achibong in this report seeks answers from experts on the right time for minors to be exposed to the use of smart devices and possible effects on the psychology of children.
Smart devices are important for enhancing conveniences, efficiency and security by automating tasks, providing remote control and offering real-time data, among many other advantages. Beyond their usefulness, these devices are also proven to have their bad sides on persons without restrictions on age. However, in recent times, smartphones have become constant companions for children who use them for entertainment, gaming, and video streaming. While this exposure has educational benefits, worrisome, however, is excessive and unsupervised use, which, according to studies, can affect a child's behavioral pattern.
It is good to expose the child to know what is happening in the 21st century.
Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, University of Uyo, Professor Aniken Brown, seems to differ a bit. For him, as control is often difficult, it behoves on church leaders and educators to also focus their teaching on moral topics that can guide a child even without parental influence.
the institutions that are given to granting orientation to people should be able to emphasize on this. Thou shalt not watch this. So that even when the parents are not there, others are not there to regulate, the moment they cite such on social media, they begin to regulate.
I think what we should major on is not denying the child access to phone at that age, but let's teach them ethics, let's teach them moral.
As professional advice is proffered, some parents are already addressing the horrific trend from digital devices on their children.
They have no access to my phone because anybody can call me or anything can happen. In fact, whatever they see inside phone, that is what they are doing.
In fact, as soon as the child is off from secondary school, you can handle a phone. From 18 to 20 years, you can give that child a phone so that the child cannot be distracted.
There is a consensus from concerned areas that parents and caregivers should be intentional about a child's upbringing through strict adherence to set boundaries and engaging them in dialogue about what to see on screen. Inuyo Utebe Achibon, NTA News.
Well said, Utube. Indeed, I agree with you there. Now, bridging the digital divide is the agenda of the National Information Technology Development Agency at the 2-day digital literacy for all capacity building for persons living with disabilities. This is as the federal government advances calls for embracing the digital technology world for all groups in the society. Chimdima Undubese reports.
Communication gadgets these days do have features that enable persons with disability use them seamlessly. Mastering these features to make calls, surf the internet, and carry out bank transactions for people like Mary is a survival skill in this digital age. But beyond these are vast life-improving opportunities in the cyberspace that hold economic benefits but require core technical skills. This is what the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, is exposing Mary and other persons living with disabilities to, so they can become tech entrepreneurs.
Our national aspirations that are deeply rooted in the Renewed Hope agenda places inclusivity at the heart of Nigeria's development journey. I'm particularly encouraged that persons with disabilities are increasingly being given the space, the voice, and the recognition to contribute meaningfully to the achievement of this vision. At NITDA, we firmly believe that persons with disabilities are not beneficiaries of charity, but contributors to national growth.
We started learning, all of these assistive tools. I mean, it was just extremely helpful for me. I couldn't imagine that I would miss any of the sessions. So I'm happy that I joined.
I also learned how to use Canva, how to use artificial intelligence to produce beautiful pictures, to produce voice support that could help persons with disabilities in designing. It can also be used for awareness creation.
This is a pilot program under the Digital Literacy for All initiative aimed at digital inclusivity as the nation pushes to have 70% of its citizens digitally literate by 2027. In Abuja, Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
In other news, Mrs. Roslyn Misan Erewa Damole is 80 years and the Executive Director of Finance, Nigerian Television Authority, Apinke Efyong, joins family and friends to celebrate the milestone. In a statement, Apinke Efyong thanked God for the life of the octogenarian, characterized by sacrifice, wisdom, unconditional love, and impactful contribution to humanity. The family appreciates Mrs. Erewa Damole for her dedication and support, wishing her many happy returns in good health and peace of mind. Another break is due. When we return, more news. Please stay with us. Thank you for remaining with us. We're no longer interested in theoretical excellence alone, but in hands-on skills that translate into prototypes and enterprises that pave the way for Nigeria's economic greatness. The Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, made the call as leaders of the nation's polytechnics and colleges of technology met with a new focus on innovation, good governance and sustainability. Zenret Digmun tells us more.
Issues of funding, outdated infrastructure and often increased tension between school management and their governing councils have over time continued to dent the transformation of technical education in Nigeria, slowing progress of the federal government's TVET initiative. The Minister of Education is now sending a stern warning to stakeholders to ensure transparency and discipline are enforced to increase public trust and attract the needed investment to modernize labs and workshops across the country.
Polytechnics should lead in areas like renewable energy, agriculture technology, digital manufacturing, and climate resilient solutions.
We in the Polytechnic, we are a peculiar system, but everything we do, we try just to mimic what is happening in the university system. Let us assert ourselves. If you don't assert yourself, nobody will recognize you.
This is it offers us a unique platform to explore innovative approaches to curriculum development, research and industry partnerships that respond to 21st century realities.
The way forward, they say, is to focus on niche specialization for every institution and explore training collaboration with industry players to ensure graduates are assets to the workforce. In Abuja, Zenred Dingmoon, NTA News.
Still talking education, the National Senior Secondary Education Commission is strengthening collaboration with financial institutions to drive sustainable development in senior secondary education across Nigeria. The initiative is aimed at leveraging corporate social responsibility efforts to address critical gaps in public senior secondary schools, including infrastructure deficits, teacher capacity development, access to digital learning tools, and student empowerment programs. Christiana Akonde's report is here presented.
Emphasizing the critical roles of the financial sector in complementing government's efforts to enhance access to quality education, the Executive Secretary, National Senior Secondary Education Commission, Dr. Yela Ajayi, notes that senior secondary education remains a pivotal stage in national development, serving as a bridge between basic education and tertiary or vocational pathways. And as such, targeted CSR investments by financial institutions can significantly improve learning outcomes, reduce dropout rates, and equip students with skills relevant to the modern economy.
We have to make education more effective, more relevant, more inclusive, and aligned with the modern trends of doing business in this country.
On their part, representatives of the financial institutions reaffirmed their commitment to education and expressed readiness to explore new areas of collaboration with the Commission.
The leaders of tomorrow are the people that you shape. We are going to stand by what has been our idea and ensure that senior education is given a very, very important focus going forward.
We believe the youths, especially at this level, hold the ace in terms of future development of the country. We know the expectations. We assure you of our willingness to partner with you.
This collaboration marks a step towards strengthening public-private partnerships in the education sector, as the Commission continues to make meaningful decisions in the interest of senior secondary schools nationwide.
Another break beckons. Please don't go anywhere. From the popular Ole, Ole, Ole chant to the popular stand up for the champion, sports fans, particularly football, have always been a force. Hence the title, 12th Man. But with all the drama that goes on the page to the somewhat chaos that happens in the stands between rival fans, the question is, are fans a necessity or sometimes a big distraction? Daniel Aderiye in the special report tells us who exactly the 12th man is.
Screams, jeers, chants, but more importantly, the chorused and almost deafening shout of only a handful of places on the planet can exhume such levels of emotion, one of which is the football pitch. From Brasilia to Italia, England to Nigeria, and most recently Morocco, the presence and weight of the 12th man on the pitch cannot be overemphasized.
When a match is going on and you hear people chanting, your name, or maybe chanting the name of the team or chanting your country, and you're like, oh, my people are here. What it does is that it fuels the energy. It says, you know what, I can do this. And it encourages the players to do more than they even want to do. Why? Because they know that they have their own. There are people here backing them up.
Decked in different colours, be it for club or country, and allured with every size of flags. The fans in most cases never stop singing, shouting or stomping. But does it truly matter if at all the fans are present? Does their absence in any way impact or affect the beauty and outcome of the game?
If you want to win in a situation in a hostile environment, it has to be, we have to die here. We will die here than to lose. And that attitude was not there in the Super Eagles. So the fans play a huge role if you want to win. That's why people talk about home advantage. No matter how reduced it is, even in European football today, you can only talk about that, the reduction due to quality of the opposition. The home advantage always counts.
But do the fans themselves believe that what they do in the stands affects what happens on the pitch? Or are they simply there to watch their favourite football teams?
The fans really have an influence in every match, especially a match between Nigeria and Morocco. You can see that is not the Nigerian supporters, the fans, they are not much, but despite as that, our Nigerian players, they really did their best.
Influence of the fans, they usually criticize, even the way they shout within the field of the stadium, they make the player to be weak. So my advice for the fans is that they should limit the way they criticize within the field so that they will boost the morale of the player to add more in playing their game well.
When you see like when one Bali holds the ball, you see like a lot of chanting, woo, 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 something like that coming from the Moroccan fans. You can see when he drop his towel, they are picking the towel away from him. That's the duty, some of the part of the duty. We know it's not part of the game, but it's kind of the part of the duty of the fans. When you have large numbers of people, you'll be able to come out and support your team very well.
Now, for those of you who have been in stadiums like this one, particularly as visitors, you would relate with me when I say the shouts and chants of over 50 to even 60,000 fans can be a little scary, and sometimes can send shivers down your spines. But one thing is certain, whenever you are in such a place with that kind of ambience, it is ultimately the business that is conducted on the pitch that determines the energy that comes from the stands. In Abuja, Daniel Adiriye, NTA News.
Thank you, Daniel. I should chant for Bade, who just returned from Morocco. So maybe should I say, ole, 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 ole. Welcome, Bade. Let's hear sports news.
Good to see you again, Yere. I hope you missed me. All right, let's get to football now. As just a few days after clinching a record 9th Africa Cup of Nations bronze title, the Super Eagles of Nigeria are making headlines once again with a trio of Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman and Calvin Bassey making the CAF's best 11. The CAF Technical Study Group unveiled the list, which features Morocco's Yacine Bounou, Senegal's Idrissa Gueye and Sadio Mane. Tournament winners Senegal and finalist Morocco dominate the selection, with 4 players each named in the best 11. Meanwhile, after the AFCON duties, Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen has returned to the starting lineup for Turkish club Galatasaray. He played earlier today in their league phase encounter against Atletico Madrid, which ended 1 goal apiece in Baku. At the moment, and of course in other results, Karabakh stunned German side Eintracht Frankfurt, with Camilo Duran securing a brace in the 5-goal thriller. Other results show that Newcastle The last time we checked, we're leading PSV Eindhoven. Liverpool are having an upper hand against Marseille, while Slavia Prague and Barcelona. The last time we checked, we're locked in a 4-goal thriller. To football now, to grassroots football this time around. Organizers of Nigeria's biggest grassroots football fiesta, the Bayelsa Governors Football Tournament, tagged the Prosperity Cup, have sealed a landmark partnership with Spanish football giants FC Barcelona as preparations intensify for Season 8, scheduled for later this year. The historic deal is set to boost grassroots football development and place Bayelsa State firmly on the global map of football.
Program, we can solve the problem of getting our players abroad properly finally. It has been a challenge with our players. When we get them clubs, they disappear into the air. When we put arrangements for them, their coaches and their managers and the agents that come in are not faithful to the terms of what we agree upon. This way, we want to build a world-class academy in Bayelsa State, supported by the private sector.
And of course, that does it on sports tonight. Let's now return to the area.
Thank you, Buddy. And yes, I missed you. I should be honest. All right, now, the body of Aishatu Aliyu Desi, late mother of the Executive Director of Special Duties NTA Headquarters, Ibrahim Aliyu, has been laid to rest. Dauda Mohammed reports that the janaza prayer, attended by family members and supervisors, was held at the Paiko Central Mosque.
Chief Imam of Paiko, Malam Aminu Khalifa Imam, led the funeral prayer. The body of late Aishatu Aliyu Desi was thereafter conveyed to the Paiko burial ground for interment. Chief Imam of Paiko, Malam Aminu Khalifa Imam, prayed Allah to forgive the shortcomings of the deceased and to grant her the highest level of paradise, Al-Jannah to Firdaus.
We are just crying in silence. But if not, we have lost our mother.
She was a strong woman. She stood for us, and the unity of the house, inshallah, we pray that it will continue.
I meet her a lot. May her soul rest in peace.
I cannot quantify the pains we have in our heart because she has been a mother for all of us.
I'm going to miss her a lot too, because even if I come to Paiko, if I want to leave, she will leave her room and escort me.
How painful it is to lose a mother. Especially this is the time that I need them most, because their prayer is always powerful. So this is the beginning of the journey of my life. But death is inevitable, and we just have to accept the will of God.
Late Aishatu Aliyu Desi died after a brief illness. She is survived by 5 children, including the Executive Director of Special Duties, NTA Headquarters, Abuja, Ibrahim Khalil Aliyu, and many grandchildren. Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
And that's our package on News Extra tonight. Many thanks for being a part of it. Let's do this again next Wednesday. I'm Ian Ray John. Have a good night.